Hey guys, it is the next day for me. I'm making quite a bit of progress right now on this. I know that you'd like to hear about other things, my world, what I'm doing in Kenya, but no. Today you're going to hear about my video games. I like to have something a bit less intense to talk to you about so I can talk to you for longer. My own grandfather had a recording of him playing guitar and singing that I've heard a good few times, where he didn't even talk, to the camera at all. Um, but in this game, I'm going to have one more turn of grabbing as many control points as I can. And this will also be my last turn with Mr. Sadeep here. Mr. Sadeep is also 60 years old, so he's going to get old over the course of events. It won't be bad to get rid of him.
We'll be running this place in no time.
Standing by for orders.
Okay, so let me tell you a bit about this game.
We'll be running this place in no time.
When the game first begins, we have a crash site, and it tells you that you should immediately, it's randomized where it is. Right now it's in Cote d'Ivoire, but it's in different places. It randomizes at the beginning of the game. And it's like, oh, you should go check out the crash site, which I will do, but I'll do it next turn because it's also pretty important. Oh wait, Valerie is the worst one to go to Kazakhstan. Yeah, don't send Valerie to Kazakhstan. It's important to make sure you get these countries before the other guys. So it's kind of a trap to go to that Cote d'Ivoire early.
Acknowledged.
On the other hand, getting these places is very good. Now, so as the Academy, I actually have one of my big weaknesses
Bringing them on board.
is that we start out, we don't know anything about the aliens, and it's like, oh, maybe they're friendly. But they're not friendly. And you need to figure out they're not friendly. And when you do, the Academy's popularity plummets. So I have this moment in the early game where I lose a bunch of popularity. But in fact, it's good to get it out of the way as fast as possible. So I gun for the tech to figure out whether or not they're friendly, because it basically takes off a percentage of what you have. The bigger you are, the more damage it does. So I'll be going to this crash site next turn. And then I will be more than in other places. I'm gunning for as many control points as I can, and then a certain percentage of them fail me. And if I have a bunch of dumb little ones like Armenia, that's a chance of not... Every Armenia I have is one less chance of losing France, right? So early on, before I get that tech, I'm going to go crazy grabbing as many countries as I can. So I figured I would... Let me start the turn. Wait, there's one more thing to do. I'm still looting, if you recall. That's because I want to get these few more of these. But there's a million systems interacting. So I'm going to start with just these resources. Confirm assignments.
We must not only defend human lives from the aliens, we must ensure those lives remain.
There's another guy. I'll tell you about the other guys later. There's a lot to talk about in this game. So, first off, you get this money. So there's these 7 resources are the ones that matter on Earth. These ones you can't see them because there's a Bandicam logo in the way. That's fine. We'll deal with those later. We have this money. We have influence. We have this one is called ops. And then we have getting into space resources of this boost, this mission control. Then we have our tech. Then we have this thing here, which is our control points cap. So the ones that spend like regular money are money, influence, and ops. Money, we get it from looting countries and also from funding. Every country has this funding number, which is like how much money it's donating to your cause naturally as charitable pursuits. And you can grow it in the same way you do other... Let me try and manage this. Yeah, so basically there's the short-term spoils where you get a lot of money, but it kind of damages the country. There's the long-term funding where you get way, way less money, but it's continuous and has no ill effect on anything. So every time it ticks, I get a permanent income boost. Now, and then the money I spend it on upkeeping my space stuff. I spend it on like publicity campaigns. Every time my guys do something, I can boost their effectiveness by spending resources. Money gets spent on that a lot. I also use it to buy orgs, which is what I'm doing a lot of right now. Influence, money you can also get it from orgs. Influence you can also get it from orgs. But you can't get this from nations, you get it from populations. So right now I have 73% support in France. That's the equivalent of these 68 million people, 73% of them are supporting me. And every people who supports you
We got our people in place.
increases, very good, increases how much money, like monthly income, a bit from chancellors, 3.1 from global public opinion. So that's every person on Earth contributes to that number. The more global support you have, the more you have that. I just want a tech. So that's the first one. Now when I get this Deep System Skywatch, that will... The Deep System Skywatch will be the one that tells me the aliens are meanies.
Our supporters are in place.
Okay, now I can actually switch out Pradeep, so I think I will. Sudeep.
We're taking over.
Alright, goodbye, Sudeep. And now because he was 60 years old, he's not even available to rehire. He just retired, basically. I was thinking of getting this guy. Rebels are kind of fun. He'll, I think, be pretty useful. So I'm going to grab the Nigerian rebel here. And now I have 4. Now the next 2 will come online when I get the right tech for it.
Our presence is growing.
Cool. I think I just got everything I asked for. Very nice. Orgs, you spend it on, it's like secret agent power. You can only get it from orgs, and you spend it on other things. You can spend it the same way as these other ones, on buying orgs or boosting your dudes. Now let's also, this... Okay, I have another minute. Let me just tell you about these. I'll go into tech on a different episode. So boost, you get it pretty much mostly from countries. France has quite a bit. This is how much like stockpiled rockets you have, and you spend it on putting things into space. Each one boost is 10 tons of stuff being put into space. And you want to build up a big pile of this to get you out into space. Later on you can produce stuff in space, you won't need the boost. But to start out, you need to get everything off of Earth using rockets. And then mission control is like Houston, we have a problem. It's people sitting on Earth controlling stuff in space. And this one is also huge. The more you have in space, the more mission control you have. It's always more effective to keep it on Earth. As you get into the mid-game, in the early game, this boost is going to matter a lot. Later on, having a huge amount of mission control is going to matter a lot. And every country has a certain amount it's allowed to have. Like France here, Paris is only allowed 6 mission controls. So Europe is great because it's a good place to harbor mission control. Europe Start helps you out in that regard. Also, let me just say these control points, that's how many countries you're allowed to have. Every one of these little balls, each cost against cap, you see that number 16 down at the bottom. Every bit of France I own costs me 16 of these. If I get above 186, I start spending every minute. I spend some of this influence. So you start bleeding influence if you overshoot this number. And this number can grow mostly from your counselors. I'll talk to you about that later. But next episode, which will be probably later today, I'll tell you about my life again. Ciao.